You are listening to Backstage Pass podcast, hosted by Hannah Trigwell and brought to you by Thomann. Welcome back to the final NAMM 2021 special edition of Backstage Pass podcast. Believe in Music Week has been our virtual experience of NAMM this year, and it's been pretty cool. So we've been treated to some really high quality videos, as well as some more lo-fi stuff. But we've had product demonstrations, announcements, live streams, Q&As. My highlights from this last portion of NAMM have been Frank Turner's acoustic stripped back performance in collaboration with Kaiser Capos. Really cool. Nice to just see something lo-fi and chilled out as well. I felt like I was in a little intimate gig, and that was cool because I haven't been to a gig for a while. The product announcement that was an exclusive on Guitar World called Guitar Slip No More. This is a moulded design that fits to most electric guitars to stop it from slipping when seated. So simple, but so genius. I also saw, and I hope I pronounced this right, a Severitinum crystal instruments demonstration, and it's like nothing I'd ever seen before. Very cool, weird, and wonderful. One of my favourite panels, conversations that I saw was Ed Sheeran's production team, who gave a unique insight into life in the production team on tour, on the Divide tour with Ed Sheeran. So it was Chris Marsh, who's the production manager and front of house engineer, and Charlie Albin, who's the audio systems engineer. And they had a really cool chat. They were talking about Ed Sheeran's strategy in terms of scaling each tour, making it bigger, making it better. And then they got interrupted by Charlie's cat wanting to join in the conversation, and I just thought that was brilliant. Joining me on today's episode is music producer Warren Huart, who was actually the very first guest that we ever had on Backstage Pass podcast. Hello, Warren Huart, how are you?
I'm good, Miss Hannah Trigwell. How are you?
I'm good. Are you enjoying NAMM?
I am, or what is it called? Believe in music now?
Believe in music for a week.
For this week, believe in music.
For this weekend.
Normally NAMM for me is like you go there and there is, I don't know, how many, 500,000 people milling around over a weekend or something, or 5 days. It's insane. And it's all sort of like I go from one booth to another. I've got a meeting. I'm meeting somebody. I'm seeing a new product. I'm meeting up with, lovely people like yourself that you don't get to see the rest of the year, And so it's definitely very different because let's be really blunt, that's sort of the main thing about NAMM. It's the actual interaction and the ability that you may have heard or read a review of a product online, but now you can actually go and pick up the guitar or pick up the microphone and talk to the designer and find out maybe a little bit more detail. So, I've enjoyed that it's stepped up a little bit more. So there's a little bit more people talking. There's a bit more emphasis on some new products. I enjoy all of that, but I'd be completely, lying if I didn't say that the basic part of NAMM and the reason why we all go there is sorely missed.
Have you seen any products that have caught your eye?
Obviously, some good friends of ours, Audient, have their entry-level range, Evo. I've been asking Andy to do this for a couple of years, and I know it's been in the works, and they finally released it. So they've done the Evo Start Recording package. So it's a little, two in, two out, idiot-proof interface, pair of headphones and a microphone for a couple of $100. And so I always get excited by those kind of things because I feel like our duty, as it were, in being, online is to encourage people to make music. And if manufacturers are also making great products that are affordable, because, I've got a nice accent. I grew up in a lovely part of the world, but my parents were dirt poor. You know what I mean? My dad was a painter. So, it's feast or famine. I always make a joke. Having a father who's like an artist is like having a father who's a bass player.
Oh, no.
So it was great. I had a lovely childhood, don't get me wrong. But, I didn't get... I was forced... Not forced, that's a horrible word. But, I just had to figure out how to do it. We didn't have... The area I grew up was really nice. So some of my friends had Les Pauls for their first guitar.
Whoa. Okay.
For real.
Wow.
So
for the first guitar?
first guitar, yeah. 15 years old, little Johnny gets a Les Paul for his first guitar, you know. Me, it was like my dad, and luckily I was a huge Queen fan, but my dad built my first guitar for me, and that was my first guitar. I always champion people whose vision is to, you know, bring people together, help community. You know, so the products that I'm most excited about are things like that. You know, the Evo Start Recording Bundle. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. And they did go out of their way. The headphones are pretty good, considering cheap headphones are cheap headphones. The microphone's pretty good. And we just like did a demo and recorded a song in like 20 minutes. It's not a great song. I made it up on the spot. It's not a Hannah Trigwell. It's a Warren Huart made up song. So that's probably the most sort of interesting, exciting thing for me, because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Like, yeah, companies are doing things that help people, you know.
15 years ago even. And might sound like a long time to some people, especially if you're 15. But 15 years ago, you couldn't really get stuff that was affordable and decent quality. It wasn't, I mean, even if you could get something affordable, that was like amazing.
The village I grew up on, there was 2 music stores. There was Kingfisher Music in Fleet, which unfortunately is gone now. But of course, there was Anderton's. And those 2 stores you would go to, and there was Strats and Telecasters and Les Pauls and all this stuff on the wall. But that was not in my budget. But they did have things like Yamaha, and the Yamaha guitars were made in Japan and half the price. Yeah. And you'd plug them in. This is before Ibanez. This is, you know, Ibanez is like a mid-late 80s kind of, you know, Steve Vai, and great guitars, don't get me wrong. But when I was a little kid, you know, you'd go in and those were the only affordable guitars. And so it sort of sticks with me. And, you know, I still like Yamaha as a company, and we use I'm looking around, a lot of their stuff, because I feel like if I'm playing a guitar in a video that costs $599, like £450, and it sounds amazing, it's sending out a much more positive message rather than going, well, you know, I've got this really big YouTube channel and this guy sent me this $5,000 boutique guitar, and, you know, and I'm going to do a video where I'm going to be holding it and like, my dream guitar, and like do a thumbnail like this. You know, it's super sort of elitist. It's just not me. Any company that's, you know, going to make great affordable stuff and help people that are stuck at home with reduced incomes and stuff like that, I'm all about it.
I've seen a couple of guitars. There's like a D'Angelico, like I think it's called a Deluxe Brighton, and that looks really nice. It's a curvy thing. It's small but sexy. I just love that. So I was excited when I saw that. There was a company presentation called Bamboo, and they made really pretty like ukuleles and clothing and accessories. And then I saw another video about different coloured cajons, and I think I get kind of sucked in by the aesthetic and like ethos of a company.
Oh no, that's beautiful.
More than like any kind of like spec or hardware.
I'm the same way.
Take on it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, we were talking about earlier, like going to TGU last year. I mean, just the experience of flying to Germany, going to Bavaria, and just interacting with people, and you start to fall in love with products. Like I say, the ethos, the what's behind it, what is the real motivation for something. And when you start seeing so much more around it rather than just this thing they're presenting you with, it makes you believe more.
It's been great having you on this podcast again. Thanks so much. You're always a fabulous guest, of course.
You are ridiculously wonderful, so.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Be sure to hit subscribe and leave a comment to let us know what you think. And I will see you next time on Backstage Pass.